And
See the bright light
Yeah,
shine.
never been to some.
It's just about home time.
What key you in?
I don't even know. Folks, this is just unrehearsed. See the bright light shine. It's just about home time.
I can see my Father standing
at the door.
This world's been a wilderness.
This world has been a wilderness.
I'm ready for
I'm
deliverance.
ready for deliverance.
I've never been this homesick.
Lord, I've never been this homesick before. We better stop there for us.
Yeah,
Gasket.
you're about to blow. You have to really tighten
We
up
start
your
getting that
tummy.
capo out here.
Yeah. Let's see what we talked about.
You've written. Let's name some. I want the people to know. Just some may be watching because it's there's a younger audience. Hopefully that are watching this show, and I want them to know Dottie Rambo, the great writer, singer. I mean, I listened to Rambo's growing up. Mark Lowry, we both know Mark.
Mark used to sit on the front row, and see, our family would improvise. When it would get too high for me, Reva would grab it. And a lot of people didn't know the melody to my song because we'd improvise, and a lot of people, when they would record them, they would be singing everybody's part. But Mark would just sit down there like this watching because he knew the right way, even as a child. He knew how to do it right.
He talked about, I traveled with him. He talked about the Rambos. That was his group, and how all the the movements and the and all the movements.
Yeah,
you guys started that, which was.
So far we have 72 albums, and I'm working now on my 8th solo album, about something like that.
Yeah.
But I tell you one that the young people might know is I Go to the Rock, and Whitney Houston just did that.
That's right, I forgot about
The
that.
preacher's wife, she did that on the soundtrack. Made me happy.
I'm sure that made you real happy.
And what was really funny, Mike, I found out from one of her backup singers is a friend of the family, Patty, and she was saying, "How'd you know this song? I Go to the Rock." She said, "Man, when I go home, I go out of the church." She says, our preacher always says, "You got to come up and do I Go to the Rock." She said, "I know about everything that Dottie Rambo ever wrote." And you never know who's listening. You never know who you're ministering to, Mike.
Oh, I know.
You really don't. And now
Can you imagine how many people that has been touched by that song, the millions of people that saw that movie?
I've been broken through the years, and out of the brokenness have come so many songs that have ministered to other people. And they think that I wrote it just for them. But it's because they've walked through so many times. See, when the Lord takes us, Mike, through broken times, then sometimes that's a mountain. But I found out the mountain's not the place to go. There's no foliage there. There's no water there. It's fun to be there where the wind blows for a while, but it'll burn you up. But you go through the valley. It's through the valley. If you can trust you, go through it. Don't stop. Go through it. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. And it's just kind of like this, plains, deserts, valleys, mountains. So that's where I wrote a lot of the songs. Tears Will Never Stain the Streets of that city. But do a little bit of what was going to, If There's Love. Okay.
I don't remember how it goes. You have to get me started, get me kickstarted.
He left the splendor of heaven.
He left the splendor of heaven.
Knowing his destiny.
Knowing his destiny.
Was the lonely dark hill of Golgotha.
Was the lonely hill of Golgotha.
There to lay down his life for me.
There to lay down his life for me. If that is a
Love, then heaven's the ocean.
the ocean is dry.
There are no heavens amid.
Then heavens amid.
There's no feeling like this.
There's no feeling like this. If that isn't Dottie, I wish we had more time. I
No,
could do
it's
this.
fun. It's
They're telling me I gotta go, but thank you so much for
I
being
love
here.
you. I love you so much. And I just place God's blessing on you and your show. You're going to touch so many people, Mike. You are. And you're such a precious vessel for the Lord. Your voice is something that, like it soars, it just kind of takes me places that nobody else takes. This is very true. I don't say things like that if I don't mean it.
Well, I sure appreciate
So I
that.
touch hands with you to bless you. See, the Bible gives us rights to bless or to curse. So I bless you. And just thank
bless
you
you
for
too.
having me.
Thank you so much. I mean, when they talked about doing this show, I thought there's no way. And there's so much bad stuff that's being talked about with all the things that happened 6 years ago. And I still deal with the things that even after all that happened, the things I rebelled and you have to deal with it. You know, if you do it, you deal with it. And but you know,
you did,
I'm going
Mike.
through it,
Going through it.
and I'm going to see the other side.
Yes, you
I
will.
know I will.
You will. I wrote a song. It's not too old. It's called Going Through and Growing Through the Trial. See, that's where we do it. And what I admire about you is that you just came back in spite of everything, and you allowed the right people to love you. I wrote a song, He Loved Me to Death. And see, people just want to love us to death. In other words, they want us to die out to whatever hurt us.
Right.
And so I prayed and cried over you, Mike, many tears, because Satan would love to take that voice and that gift and the way people love you and you interact with them, you see. And here he's brought you through the hurting, and you've made a decision to give back what he's given to you. And now you're sitting here reaching literally millions of people. Just think what we would have lost. And there was a time, I went through a time, listen, I tried twice to kill myself. Little Dottie Rainbow. People say,
I've been there too.
yeah, I'm sure you have, but God just will not let us destroy what he has given us.
No, he's going to finish.
Isn't
what
he
started.
awesome?
He really is.
He takes us to mercy thrones and speaks to us. And the shepherd, I have to tell this real quick, Lee. There's a place in the Holy Land, you must go there. It's a real narrow place. When the shepherd follows the little sheep, and when one of them gets out of line with the rest, they got to go right through that little narrow place, and they go there all the time to go drink. Well, if one little lamb just says, well, I don't have to go straight like this, he falls off the cliff. The shepherd hears him sometimes for 2 or 3 days. He's bah, bah. Well, this will go on until he can't hear him anymore. He's caught on a ledge. And the shepherd prays that he gets caught on the ledge, because he can take his staff and reach down and get him.
Like that little picture.
Pulls him up, and what it's about, he breaks his leg, and then he puts the stick on it, wraps up, and he puts him on his shoulder. That's what that picture's all about.
Yeah.
So he caught me and you, picked us up, broke her leg, got us back, and he said, I'll carry you until you learn your lesson, until we learn our lesson. Isn't that wonderful?
It's
The
just
shepherd's so
amazing.
awesome,
He really
and he
is.
never gets mad at us.
Oh,
Isn't that great?
so amazing.
God
Yeah.
love you for
I
being
love
a
you.
part of the music again.
Well, thank you, Dottie. And I got to wrap it up, but I just want to just a cappella, just do this song that churches have heard everywhere. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Dottie. I've had such a great time doing this. This is something I've always wanted to do. But let me sing this to you. Holy Spirit, thou art welcome in this place. Holy Spirit, thou art welcome in this place. Omnipotent Father, full of mercy and grace, thou art welcome in